So we had a surprise yesterday, and I know this one hits home to you. We had a little surprise yesterday. We know the Orlando Magic started cleaning house this year, made some big moves at the trade deadline to detonate the team, and apparently head coach Steve Clifford didn't understand and didn't like it, and had conversations with ownership and management over the last several weeks, and then both sides. I don't know why I can't talk today. Both sides came to the conclusion that they need to go their separate ways. How do you feel about that?
I was kind of hoping Clifford would stick around. I like that. He has generally, with the lineups he's been given, I felt like has found success for the Magic since he's been there. So I never had a problem with him. I can understand him not wanting to go through another rebuild process like the Magic, like the front office were trying to construct.
Hmm.
So I don't blame him. It's not the Scott Styles situation all over again. So at least this one ended. He was here for a while. He tried his thing. We couldn't stay healthy. When we had the team, I felt like he did a good job. So I hate to see him go because I liked him, but I get why he wants to. And if he wants to, then they need to, that needed to happen. I don't want someone here who doesn't want to be here. We got another young core. If you're gonna do it, this is the time to do it. So it was a little unexpected, but I mean, what are you gonna do? It went as well as you could hope, I guess. And I mean, if the rumors are true about who they're looking into, the Magic to replace him, then we'll just have to wait and see. But I guess the rumor is, what's that guy's Tots? What's his name?
Yeah, Stotts. Yeah.
Stotts, my bad. So that's why I was asking if he was there the whole time Dame was, because we're gonna have young guys that need some direction. He's gonna have to pick the who's who, and set it, if that's who we get, that I'll be happy with that for now to see what the team does. It's just everything's a toss up for the Magic. You don't know who we're gonna get in the draft because you just don't know yet. Um, we don't have a head coach anymore. Uh, and we have a bunch of injuries still, even with our younger guys that we know they're going to try to keep. So, uh, Magic fans need to really temper those expectations again for next year because it's just going to be a mess. Is how I feel.
Well, they won't because they're Magic fans and they're irrational. But I can imagine the conversation going like this, where Stephen Clifford went into the front office, was like, "I didn't sign up for this shit. Well, y'all blew up the team. This is not what I signed up for. What the hell are you guys doing?"
Well,
I
it
will.
said you signed up for a team that was already in disarray. If you didn't think this could happen, you're just acting
It's
dumb.
like,
See you later.
I mean, I will say this: the brain trust you guys have, of course, comes from Milwaukee. They used to have
Mm-hmm.
Terry Stotts in Milwaukee, so there's a connection there. Um, some Magic fans are clamoring for Penny Hardaway, who's coaching Memphis in college ball right now. They're clamoring for Penny Hardaway to come back and be the head coach. I don't think that's the route you need to go right now with an unproven team and an unproven coach. I don't think that's not the route to go. But nothing's working right now. So I mean, you know, I, I'm shocked that Clifford decided to go. I'm really shocked by that. I've said this to you. I've said this to Gerald, who's a Magic fan. I think I've even said this to Cortez. As long as Alex Martins is running that team, they won't be successful as far as on the basketball court. They just won't. Off the court, he's a great businessman. I get it. As far as basketball operations, he needs to be gone. That's just the beginning and end of it. It needs to be gone. Sometimes you can't run a professional sports organization like a business. You have to have some basketball guys in there. And what I mean is even above the front office, like you have to have some basketball guys or have an advisor to who's ever running things. And he's shown over the last few years that it's just not work. It's not. How many coaches have you guys been through? How many times have you guys blown up the team? So th-
Yeah, I know. that it would definitely help if that were to happen. But it's like um I don't even think it's gotten like since the Dwight Howard era, it's like never gotten that far. It's like
Mhm.
to me, most of the weight should come down onto the GM and those front offices, and I'm talking about pre when we got the Milwaukee crew in there because that set us back a long time. So I think Martin should take some blame for that, like how they rearranged and put people in power for a while. I think we have the right team of management in there right now to kind of make some okay decisions. We'll see going forward, but I don't know how they structure their money and how they spend their money. But it seems like when the Magic were good, they were willing to spend money and do things to in an effort to try to keep them good. You know, like they tried to be competitive, even though they made terrible decisions on where to spend that money, like on the players and stuff. But the team, they were like, it seemed like attempting to stay competitive and good. So I don't know what Alex Martin does that other teams don't, or what he doesn't do that other teams do. But I don't know how much of it is that compared to the disarray that the front office has had until recently, down to the coach changes, which I contribute back up to the management, like the GM and everything you have for a while. I mean, Hennigan set us back for another 5 to 6, 7 years, and so I just don't know how much of that should fall on the Alex Martins. I'm not saying we don't need a change there. I'm just saying like what I see is like below Martins down was the problem. And I thought Steve Clifford was going to be part of that solution, and he was for a while. And I thought this Milwaukee like group that came from there, I thought they would add some clarity and some like just normal feeling to the Magic. And for the most part, they have it outside of the injuries, but from the bottom to the top, it seems like the Magic have needed a change. And like I said, I don't know how much of it falls on Martins. I know we've had that talk and how you feel. I just don't know how it works enough to say that guy needs to be gone when I've had so many questions about the coaching before and the management staff before. So it's like in my eyes, we have to go up the ladder before we get up to Martins to know like that for sure is the problem to me when I see all these other problems they've had. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just saying, like, to me, before we even get up to that high on the list of the problems, I feel like there's these underlying issues that the Magic have to get figured out before you can, without a doubt, be like, well, this guy is completely wrong in how he's running the money of the team.
Well, here's the structure. So you have the DeVos family. I know Papa DeVos died a couple of years ago. I don't know if his wife is calling the shots or one of his children are calling the shots, but you have the DeVos family. Then underneath that you have Alex Martins. Then underneath that is where you have the front office. Okay, so like you just explained, Steve Clifford is gone. He was supposed to be a change. Before him, I can't remember who the head coach was. Borrega, who's in Charlotte right now, was coaching for a little while. You had Scott Skiles there for a little while. Before Scott Skiles, I can't remember who the coach was. Alex Martins has had probably 6 or 7 coaches since because he's been in Orlando forever. He's probably had 6 or 7
Mm-hmm.
coaches. He had, as far as front offices, the Milwaukee guys. Before that, he had Rob Hennigan, who did set the franchise back. I would say that. And then before that, you had Otis Smith. That's still all on Alex Martin's watch. So that's the last 10 years of Magic front offices there. So if I'm the DeVos family, I'm looking at Martin's and I'm saying, hey, in the last 10 years, we've had 3 different front offices. We did get one finals run out of it, but we had 3 different front offices, 6 or 7 head coaches. We even have a farm system in Lakeland. You mean to tell me you can't get better talent in here? Because let's not forget about the farm system in Lakeland. So it's just like, what's the disconnect? What's going on? So if you have a guy, think about it like this: if you have a guy who's working under no pressure, if the DeVos family isn't putting pressure on him to put a winner on a court, he's free to do whatever he wants. All I'm saying is that he needs to have a little pressure put on him. You need to have a winner in this time frame, or else. That's how the conversation needs to go. Period. So let's just use San Antonio or Miami as an example. Miami is right down the road. You have Mickey Arison, you have Pat Riley, and then you have the front office. Who's the face of the franchise? Is not the owner. Pat Riley is the face of the franchise. Therefore, all the pressure is on him to produce a winner. Like you said, no one expected the Heat to go to the finals last year. The Miami Heat, no matter what team they have, are competitive every single year. Even when we blow it up, we're competitive every single year. Why can't Alex Martins do that in Orlando? He's had years to he's had over 10 years to do this. Why hasn't he been able to do it? And the few times he's had it, it got blowed up. Otis Smith blew it up. Rob Hennigan drafted anything that he thought was pretty and blew it up. And now the Milwaukee guys are blowing it up because they're like, okay, we've been here 3 years, but now we have to set it back again. Who's the constants in that picture? Is Alex Martins.
Mhm.
That's the constant. We know people in Orlando are fed up. Only because we're right down the road. We know people in Orlando are fed up. We know people are calling for new ownership for the Magic. Maybe that has to happen for this organization to have some consistency as far as winning. I want the Magic to win. Trust me. Trust me. I want them to win. I want them to be a good team. So I see this guy who's had this job and he's great on the business end. He's great. I give him that. He's great. But you need a good basketball product as well. Because as great as you are on the business end, if your basketball product was well, your business end would be even better. And that's how they have to look at it. So from ownership down to Alex Martins, there's no pressure. They need to sit
Yeah.
that guy down. They need to sit that guy down and be like, look, you're in charge. You have 3 years to get us a contender. 3 years. And when I mean by contender, I mean at least even a tight second round playoff matchup or a conference finals appearance. First round ain't we're done with first rounds. Steve Clifford gave you first rounds 2 years in a row before you blew out the team. So we know you can do that. But pressure has to be put on that guy or he has to be out of a job. We see executives get fired all the time in the NBA. This guy's been in Orlando for damn near 20 years.
Hmm.
He's been there for 20 years.
Yeah, I can't
And,
argue with that. Like, I mean, that's what I would want to do too. If I was, you know, if I was the ownership of the team at this point, like how much leeway are you going to give him just because of these other things that have happened?
right,
Whether or not they were his fault or not, he was the decision maker to hire some people for a long time. So
right.
it's not like you gotta hate him or anything, but it's just like, well, this just hasn't worked up to this point, for whatever reason. And like I said, you can come up with a lot of different reasons. But yeah, it's just like at some point, I guess time for some new blood and something else.
Yeah. And their
Because
loyalty
like
to
I
him.
don't necessarily have a problem with him or anything. Like it just hasn't worked yet. So like
Yeah,
you said.
their loyalty to him is that he's one of the Magic originals. I forgot what position he started at, but he's had multiple positions within that organization. So that's their loyalty to him. And that's fine. You can remove him from this position and make him a figurehead to do whatever, keep an ambassador to the team. You can still keep him within the franchise, or you can keep his current role and just bring in a basketball guy right next to him, because like I said, he's a great businessman. The Magic has deep ties in Orlando, deep, deep, deep ties, and they do great for the community over there. But the basketball product hasn't been there. Outside of Shaq and Penny, outside of Dwight Howard and that crew, the winning hasn't been there. And that's at some point we see executives lose their job all the time for less. For less. At some point, he has to have pressure put on him to produce a winner. You can't just wait for a team to get lucky. You can't do that. Oh well, we'll wait 10 more years and then we'll get lucky again. That's not how you do it. It's not. Um,
It makes me wonder like what other teams are doing, because it's like I don't pay attention to like say the other teams that have been notoriously bad. Like I don't
mhm,
really know why the Kings can never get going,
mhm.
or why even though the Knicks have all the money in the world, they only have a good team once every 20 years. or something. It's like, even compared to those teams, it's like I would rather have been a Magic fan through those eras than those teams. It's like, what exactly, if it seems so obvious on how you put together a decent basketball product, then it's like, how do some of these other teams make any money at all when it seems like there's like no attempt almost? And like I said, I'm not like a fan of the Kings, so I can't tell you. I just know like they've had Vladi there for a while, right?
Oh, he's in
Has it
Sacramento.
changed anything? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's a basketball guy, but he's just their GM, so I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, how do the teams that are notoriously always bad, how
Mhm.
does it never work for them? Like a good example is the Kings. Like, they can never get anything going ever. It seems like, and the entire time I've watched basketball, even when they get a good rookie talent, he's gone within 5 years or whatever. Like, they can't do anything. So it's like,
Mhm.
what's the reasoning? Some of these teams, like, is it just not money spending? Is it the wrong ownership? It just seems like eventually the team would either just move
Well,
or get sold.
you have different philosophies as far as how to build a team. So with Sacramento, Sacramento is actually similar to Orlando, to where big time free agents will not come. They just won't come because the name of the organization has been soiled so bad. So that means you have to build it up homegrown. Um, you have to be able to draft well. So that's where Sacramento's messing up at. Buddy Hield's a good player. He's not a superstar. Let's, let's just be real. He's not an all-star. He's a good player. They need to draft better. We know that there are, and I'm not picking at the Magic, but we know the Magic have had some bad picks in the draft. One thing that the Magic will do, they will draft a great kid, a great character kid. They might not always draft the most talented kid. You get what I'm saying? So
Mm.
you want to have good players and good people on your team, but I think this current management style, that's who they go after more so. And then God knows we had Hennigan and his faults.
I don't even like
we know.
talking about him again.
Look, I miss picking on Hennigan, but like I said, if the player wasn't pretty enough, Hennigan wasn't going to draft him. We know that. And now
There's
you
like
have
two
these.
people I'd fight on site, and him again. It might be one. Like, for no
Yeah,
reason, never met him before. But if I saw him, I'm like, I gotta hit him in the face.
and then it's the same thing with the Knicks. So the Knicks have between the Magic, Sacramento, and the Knicks have the most money. But their reputation was soiled because their front office was always in disarray. Big time free agents wouldn't want to come. So the money didn't need anything. So now you had to do homegrown building, which the Knicks aren't that good at. They just aren't that good at. So, but now here's the thing: between the three teams right now, who has the brighter future? New York has, because they're the first one to get back to the playoffs, and they have Tom Thibodeau there. They actually have stability there in New York. So New York's going to build off of this year.
Oh yeah.
Sacramento's dead. Sacramento's dead in the water. Orlando's dead in the water until, but there has to be a spark, and there hasn't been a spark since Dwight Howard. Let's be real.
Mm.
Oladipo and Peyton didn't work together. Isaac and Obama hasn't worked, even though Isaac's been hurt. Fultz, we still don't know because he's out. So
Hmm.
it's tough. The Magic has had some bad breaks, but at some point, the finger has to turn to Alex Martins at some point because like I
Hmm.
said, you've gone through 6 or 7 coaches, you've gone through 3 front offices, and you're still there. It's like you're still there. It's like, come
Hmm.
on.
That's why I'm
So
gonna have to get a Cole Anthony shirt or something. Just put all my support into that kid, because he seems like he might have something.
that might be that right there might be a spark. But now here's the thing: what's going to happen when Fultz comes back? They play the same position. So now you have a situation, right? Because Fultz already, you just paid Fultz and then you went down with that ACL. Then you have Cole Anthony rise up. Might be an issue going forward. Fultz might be the odd man out, but like I said, you have money tied into him. So,
Also, I mean, we'll have to see the dynamic those guys play together, because where Fultz has been developing a slightly more consistent shot, he's still, his main weapons are crashing to the basket, dishing out.
mhm,
Okay, he plays more traditional point guard than what Cole Anthony is a shooting guard to
mhm,
me. I mean, I don't know what he was technically playing as when he would check into some of the games or whatever. But to me, he's more of a shooting guard. If those guys can play the right way together, I don't see a problem with it. We're comparing, or when we say those, they might have those issues. The old tandem of Peyton and Oladipo come to mind, and a big problem with that was neither guys in the beginning. Oladipo wasn't known for knocking down jumpers either. Like, he could hit shots, but
Right.
neither one of those guys could shoot. That
Right.
was a big
Right.
problem. It's like,
Right.
okay, well, Peyton can do his thing, but we have to have shooting. Their styles were too similar. I'm not saying it will work. I'm just saying it's worth a look to see if those guys can play together, because there's no way with what you've seen that you bet against Cole Anthony right now. The odd man out for me would be Fultz in that situation, just because he has been injured and blah 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 whatever. I like him. I hope they don't have that issue like they used to, but they very well could. And then we got, it depends who they try to draft.
Hmm.
We've got big young guys,
Hmm.
we've got young guards. So at least two of them. So it's like, what are you gonna, how's that dynamic gonna be? The only reason I thought the Stotts idea of having him come in might be okay at first would just be because he was able to start off with Dame and McCollum being young, and despite them not being able to get to the finals, he was at least able to get that team competitive. Um, I don't know how competitive the Magic are going to be at first. We're going to be young, so I don't know realistically how many wins we're going to hope to get. But in terms of managing the personnel and the dynamics of a younger team, that guy, at least I know he's done it over in another area and was able to at least figure out the situation enough for the team to get along and to play as right as they could together.
Yeah.
Portland didn't have the right pieces, so the Magic might not have the right pieces to be successful going forward, but I don't have like a lot of distrust, or I don't have confidence in that coach to not pull it off. So we'll see. But I don't know who a clear favorite to me would be to get that coaching job. I just know that if they got Stotts, it wouldn't be like the end of the world for me. I'd give the guy a shot. But I don't know, like the Magic, man. It's a
Stocks.
frustrating team to root for, but I have hope in some of these young players going
Yeah.
forward, and I like Cole. I hope him and Fultz can play well together, because I want to see what Fultz can do if he can stay healthy. I don't want to write that kid off either. It's just a lot of questions.
Yeah. Stocks is the safe pick. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
against the pick for Stocks. He's the safe pick. Fultz's injury could be a blessing in the stock disguise, because he's not going to be doing as much crashing as he did before. So now he can be more of a facilitator. He was already trending towards being that, but now he can be more of a facilitator for Cole Anthony, who should play the two guard. What the Magic need to do, they need to draft a wing, not a big. They need to draft a wing, an athletic wing. Think of a Jason Tatum. I'm not big on him, but that's the type of player that you need. That's who they wanted your boy Aaron Gordon to be,
Aaron Gordon, yeah.
but we know why Hennigan drafted him, but he wasn't. He wasn't that. Okay, he wasn't that. Devin Booker could have been that. We all know the Magic passed on Devin Booker. Devin Booker definitely was
Man,
that.
shut your mouth. A lot of teams passing on a lot of players. I don't want to talk
But
about who we passed on,
but
bitch.
that's the type of player that you guys need to draft to complement those young guards. Um, if I was in the front office, that's what I would do. So let's see what they do. I think they're done with trying to draft the young bigs. God knows they need to be done with that, because you're still going to have Isaac coming back. So we'll see what Isaac can bring. I think Bamba, that's done. Once his rookie contract is up, that's it for him. Um, there is light.
Isaac's the real talent there.
Yeah,
Isaac's the one we're waiting on.
yeah. There's light at the end of the tunnel, but it just almost seems like, and to put a cap on it, it almost seems like the Magic are the hamster in a little spinning wheel, and they just spin. They just run and just spin all the time and go in
Well,
circles.
I was just gonna say, it's like every time we think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, we just
Mhm.
realize we're still in the tunnel. It's like
Right, right,
it's
right.
like really on paper a few times we thought we were gonna pull off like having a decent team. And
Hmm.
like you said, it sucks because we didn't make it out of the first round, but we made it to the first round a couple of times, and especially the last 2 years hurt with the injuries because I really
Hmm.
thought we could have had an okay team. Um, it's just what it is. Like there's no way around some of those injuries, but you have to have everything else right to consistently put yourself in a position to take
Right.
advantage of those good teams. So
Right.
it's like a law of averages. It's like you have to make sure everything else is right because so much can go wrong with just the players. So you have to get better at taking better shots, basically. So we'll
here's
see.
my here's my bold prediction: in 2 to 3 years, the Milwaukee Crew will be out of Orlando, and Alex Martins will still be running the team. Bold prediction.
We'll see.
bold, bold prediction. All right,
It's not that
ladies.
bold. You have 20 years of evidence to go with you. So it's a prediction. I don't think it's a bold one. Jesus.